Alright, thanks for joining me for today's episode. It's going to be a little wobbly on the video if you're watching the video, but it is a stunning day here in Broken Head. Just thought I'd come live to you from the beach. Look, I wanted to talk about a easy difficulty that can arise. An easy difficulty, geez, that's an interesting concept in itself. So what went down is that my medical practice had a meeting. Now this meeting must have had 22 people at it, and I mean that most of them health professionals, so nurses and doctors. The overall cost of this meeting went for 2 hours. You know, you're probably looking somewhere around $5,000, $6,000, $10,000 for people just donating their time. Like, it wasn't like we were getting paid for this, but hopefully you have a specific dollar amount where you judge between, say, spending time with your family and actually going and doing something. So my figure's around $400, and so I'm in for $800. Now, I didn't get paid, as I said, but nonetheless, made the decision to go. So we go there, there's 22 of us, we have this meeting, bunch of stuff happens, and there's things that are meant to happen. One of which is like, all right, we need to have a regular clinical meeting where we can discuss patients. Now, out of that, nothing happened. So this is not good, you know? All of that time, all of that money went in, and then the decision got made, yep, we need to have a clinical meeting, but there was no follow-up. There was no one assigned, there was no clear responsibility for this, for making it happen, no timelines. And so the date rolls around this morning and nothing's happened. This was meant to be the first meeting, but instead I'm walking on the beach, which is pretty good. I'll take my walk on the beach, but my boss reached out and said, hey, are we meeting? I'm like, no, we're not. Nothing happened. He's like, that's no good. I'm like, yeah, that's no good. What we got is a systems problem, because out of that meeting, any of the decisions that were made didn't get implemented. But this was not taken that well. He's like, no, this is a specific problem about this specific issue, which is we have to sort it out. And I'm like, yeah, okay. Yes, that is true. The specific problem must be sorted out, which is how do we have these meetings. But the more general systems problem is that out of that meeting, nothing actually happens. Not just this one, but none of the decisions. I don't know, maybe they did, maybe they didn't. Maybe I'm just like, hang on. We have a general problem here. And that is when we have a meeting, there is no clear way of actually ensuring that the decisions get implemented on. Does that make sense? I hope it does. It's like, hang on, yes, there's a specific problem around the clinical meeting, but that is a reflection of the general problem of the inability to go from a meeting through to actionable steps. So that needs to be dealt with, but will it be dealt with? Probably not. And so the next meeting we have, there'll be 20 people there, total investment $10,000 from everybody, total outcome, not much. Now, once people start to see this and they see that not much is changing, then what happens is the capacity for people to go, you know what, I'm going to make the effort goes down. It's like, why am I turning up to these meetings? Like, if nothing changes, then I am just costing myself time with my family. And I'd personally rather hang out with my family. If there is not going to be a significant outcome out of these meetings, eventually people will work that out. And they go, okay, I'm not going to come. And the problem is that there is no way to go from meeting to application. Like, just off the top of my head, it could be, all right, we need to have at least the notes. What was decided? What needs to be done? Okay, distribute that. Okay, great. Now we're all clear. But then each of those items needs to be thought through and go, okay, how's this going to happen? Who's responsible? When's it going to happen by? Do we have the resources? What resources do we need? Like, without thinking through this stuff, this is never going to happen. So, what's the lesson here? The lesson here is that specific problems in your business may represent more general systems problems. So make sure that you consider not just the specific problem, but also, is there a more general problem at play here? If you want help around this, head over to systemio.dev. Systemio.dev, pop in your email, pop in your name, go grab the training on this very issue. Look forward to seeing you on tomorrow's episode as we continue this journey into systemization and scaling in business. See you then.